With the recent security challenges being faced all over the country, it is clear that there are obvious gaps that exposes us all to security risk.
My name is Inspector Ujula Femi. Okay. You got that clear?
Yes.
And this is my colleague. We are attached to Nipost enforcement team.
Okay.
Are you registered with Nigerian Courier and Logistics Regulatory Department of Nipost?
Yes.
You are registered?
Yes.
Fully registered?
Yes.
You are in our record?
Yes.
Can you bring that over?
The Postmaster General of the Federation of the Nigerian Postal Service, Nipost, Dr. Ismail Adebayo Adeusi, announced a clampdown on all illegal logistics and courier outfits. The order was executed through the General Manager of the Courier and Logistics Department, Mr. Gideon Dotun Shonde.
The dangers and the consequences of operating illegally without a grant of an operation license. It has dire consequences on the revenue accruable to the federal government because they are operating without a license. That means they have not secured a license, they have not paid for a license. They are operating. So anybody patronizing them is likely going to have problems. We have lots of complaints of lost parcel, people are being kidnapped, and people are being molested, you know. They're operating a faceless outfit. No registration, you can't trace them, so they can dupe you, they're engaged in so many things. So apart from the revenue loss, it's also a security risk.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going at this morning. We know where we are going. Offices we are going. Companies we are going. We are going there. When we get there, just as we have done, as per that yesterday, when we get there, our vehicles will be stationed somewhere. When we get there, patronize them. Because of patronage, we signal the police to come. When they come, ask questions. Because of asking questions, we discover that they are illegal. They are not operating within the ambits of the law. We found one or two of their motorcycles. Then the MT of that company, either the MT or any very important person follows. You understand? We find their vehicle, put in our vehicle, go to the second stage. It's as serious as that.
A 3-day sensitization tour was embarked on to achieve this purpose and much more.
We discovered that your cinema is operating without a valid license from Logistics and Courier Regulatory Department of Nipost. Meaning you are doing an illegal business, and that is why we are here. This is task force team. We are here for basically two things. To close down this place. One, impound one or two of your motorcycles you are operating with, then go with your MD or whoever is here on this place. This is our mission. Officer.
Over 300 firms have so far been profiled. He, however, stated that the clampdown came after several warnings and appeal to all stakeholders for compliance.
It means for the last 5 months, we have been sensitizing the public. Men are outside, as I'm talking to you now, with handbills and flyer, going to the black spots where we have identified them. There are spots where they gathered. There are locations, there are places where we have approached quite a number to sensitize them about the dangers, about the consequence. This is one of the consequences provided by statutory mandate. So we have done much in sensitization. Just last weekend, I was on NTA Morning Ride, and that's one station, media house, that I call Giant. So I believe, apart from the sensitization, we have also, we are on the social media We have a web portal, you know. We have the Twitter handle, the Facebook, the Instagram, where people also interface and interact with us. We also have training programs that we run, that we advertise.
The event was further used to sensitize all on the dangers of illegal operators in the system. According to the Postmaster General of the Federation, these illegal operators are used for criminal activities like drug trafficking, money laundering, robbery, kidnapping, amongst others.
They don't have any ethical or professional standard or value. So they are killing the business. They are creating price war. Those who have invested can't get return on their investment because they will charge ridiculous prices because they don't have overhead. They're not licensed. They are faceless. You can't trace them. They are operating in hideouts. And the hideouts is where we went because we have over 300 that we have profiled. So if it has taken us almost like 5 hours, like a whole week, to get 8 illegal courier outfits out of 3,000, you see the journey is very far. And Nigeria must be great again.
As part of drive to encourage compliance, the federal government has broken down the operations to 4 categories of licenses, which include international, regional, state, and special SME.
If you can afford to buy bikes, 350, some as much as 700, you have like hundreds, 50, and you cannot procure a license of 3 million for national operation, and you are doing that with 100 bikes. You cannot purchase a license for 2 million for regional, and you are doing that. You cannot even purchase a license for 250,000 for SME operators, and you are operating, and you have like 5, 10 bikes. Calculate the amount you get for that bike. You know that there are just a bunch of people who are recalcitrant, people who have no regard for constitutional authority, and we cannot fold our arms. So by the mandate of Courier and Logistics Regulatory Department of Nipost, we have gone out there to do the needful, and we expect others who are out there using this medium, we are appealing to them to come and do the needful before we get to them.
On the third and final day of the event, there was an induction program where participants were duly educated and issued with certificates of operation.
2 things here before I sit down. The first one is the orientation, like I said. Some people it's going to be reorientation, some people it's going to be de-orientation. It's an orientation training program, of course, as you like it. And the second one is, of course, the induction. No other person is going to receive you into the industry than those who have been there. They know the nooks and corners, they know how it feels. They are even fighting and struggling to make it a better business environment. That's right, the idea. And once that is done, the license is going to be presented, and of course we call it a meal ticket. Now you can say you're on the side of the law, you are friends, and we can move on from there.
Let us go a brief about the introduction, how this courier service came about. As the story was being narrated by the current GM. During the oil boom era, there was need for courier services as was being done by the expatriates. So during the oil production, there were some strategic items that were needed for production. So there was need for them to courier to send these items to the production sites, and that was not being done in Nigeria then. So during this time, there were some incursions and Dick and Harry were practicing this without control, no standard, no monitoring, no licensing. So there was the need for the government to introduce this courier, and that is when it was started, and using Nigeria Courier Regulatory Department as an arm of Nipost to set the standard. You'll be hearing that the main functions of this courier regulatory are essentially regulating, licensing, and monitoring our common mandate. How to solve the erstwhile uncontrolled services of courier operators. It provides for regulatory, licensing, and monitoring of courier companies vis-a-vis their coordinate in Nigeria, the whole country. And Nipost is the only organization saddled with the duty of regulating, licensing, and monitoring courier services, just like we have NAVDA for food processing companies.
To make the courier industry more advantageous to the registered members, the GM has also actively emphasized we're actually here to harmonize the bill. We need to be at the National Assembly on Monday, and these are things that are affecting the industry as a whole. We're believing that you guys will come under our fold very soon, like between their time and so that we can grow the industry. There are too many infiltrations into the industry that is not right. Yes, I highlighted a lot of such places, but we believe that if we work together, we will get to the promised land. Once again, we're welcome to the industry.
This business is a business that demands a lot of honesty, sincerity. It is not a business you can manifest. I mean, it's like a business that is a calling. Because you render very, very sensitive service. The good thing that the CRMG presently has come on board to assist in sanitizing this industry. Apart from having that dignity, you'll be having good return on your investment. And we're coming together with the CRRG, definitely the industry will be a better one. I'll be happy and glad that it's an industry you have a succession plan, a career-based industry. So they are young, and that is the end of me here is more than, it's up to 40 years. So when let's say you still have about 20 years before you retire. So before then, it's a career you're building, it's a different industry. So you're welcome on board.
Talk about those who are coming to the industry. Part of what they did in the last 1 year was also to make way for people like you to come, which is something I'm very glad about, because we now have about 4 segments of certificates that you can have to participate in the industry. Before it was not so. You may have to look for a lot more money before you come to the industry. Now we have 2,000 license for those who want to do 4 or 5 motorcycles, and then you have regional license, you have the national license, and then you have the international, which means you can graduate from the smallest to the biggest. And that should be your target, really. Even if you are coming in as an SME now, you must target to be an international company. And that's possible. We are looking for more Nigerian companies that can become international because of time. It has happened in the fintech space. If you look at some of the boys in Paystack and Interswitch and all of those kind of companies, they become global companies. And they all started from here. The guy who runs Interswitch is just barely 50 years old. I think he turned 50 last year or this year. And the company was, part of it was bought for $200 million. Paystack was bought for $200 million. And Flutterwave, some of these guys are Nigerian companies, so if you bring a bit of IT to what you do, the sky is the limit. Continue to learn, work with those who have mastered the trade, hire the right type of people, and then the story changes in the course of time.
This year we have witnessed quite a lot of strict regulations being applied. Thanks to you for bringing that in. And I just want to chip this in as well, when it has to do with prohibited items, regulations, and the rest. Be on the lookout, because Nigerians are very, very smart. And they visit courier companies to check loopholes. When they see that you have a loophole or a downside, they use you and they hit you back. And they will give you items that you may not even be aware that they are prohibited. And by the time you do some exports, you begin to have all kinds of issues. So please be on the lookout for some of those things, so that you don't fall into the hands of fraudsters and then get your name soiled. You're welcome. We are glad to have you. Thank you.
You are fortunate because you have someone who is passionate about the industry, passionate about moving the industry forward, and passionate about ensuring that things are done right, and also to the benefit of every player in the industry. You heard Mr. Shonde tell you that if you have issues with NDLA, for example, it will back the NDLA. That's exactly the